Hello and welcome back. Now, this is a grumpy one because this is all about my scythes and how they shouldn't be touched. Now, for me, I want to point out straight away that I'm being a little bit childish about this, and by a little bit I mean a fucking lot. Basically, for me, scythes are the best weapon class in the game. I absolutely love them. I am always using either Reaper Prime or Course Assist. On occasion I might swap to something like Orthos Prime. Generally speaking, Course Assist and Reaper Prime for me are the only two weapons I will ever really use. Maybe Zenestar, because Zenestar is just broken. But I really do love my scythes. Every single one of them. I have different builds, unique builds on all of them. I have calibrated each one for a certain purposes, and I am able to take them bloody far within a variety of different game modes. Apparently, according to forums etc, which I've put a post up, I will link that down in the description. Apparently I'm the only fucking one that can do this with scythes, because everyone else seems to think that they're just terrible, bad, outdated. I can kind of agree with the last one. They are a little bit outdated. They do need a little bit of a rework, something else just to spruce them up. Turning them into a heavy blade? Fuck no. DE, what the hell are you thinking? Basically, I had a 36-hour shift at work, which was great fun, by the way. So I've then come home from my 36-hour shift to find I have missed some rather vital news, which is the scythes are going to be converted into two-handed weapons and will be using heavy blade stances. So basically they're no longer going to be scythes, they're just going to be another heavy blade in a plethora of heavy blades. They've put all this work into creating a unique weapon with their own unique stances, and they're just gonna backtrack on that. That seems really silly, along with the fact that they're my favourite bloody weapon, so I'm a little bit miffed. So this video is basically to try and highlight a simple problem, because I've got into a few arguments with this, or heated debates I should probably say, about this, over what the actual problem is, why people don't like them, trying to figure out, you know, what the actual community want. And I have to say, from the off, 90% of the argument isn't that scythes are bad, or they're terrible, or this, that, the next thing. It's they don't like the stances. Now I have to admit, the stances are a little bit odd to get used to, so I can kind of get behind that. However, slight tangent quickly, Tonfas, they are bad. Everyone hated the stances. They didn't get a complete weapon overhaul. They weren't added to dual blades or something else. All they did is they gave us a revised and a little bit more community input on a new Tonfa stance. Tonfas still suck, but we got a new stance. Where the hell is this opportunity for scythes? Apparently scythes don't get that sort of love just because they're that bloody terrible. Well, dual blades are still pretty terrible. Daggers are completely bloody pointless. Tonfas are still shit despite their overhaul. But no such luck or love with scythes. They're just that bloody terrible apparently. Cheers DE, thank you very much for basically putting all of the hours and hours of work that I have done on my scythes and just flushing it. Cheers. In case you can't tell, I'm a little bit bitter about this. So, in all, really, my opinions on this are the heavy blade side of it, maybe not so much heavy blade, we'll call it heavy scythe for now. So it's going to be similar to heavy blade, but it's going to have its own stance. It will be its own scythe as well, which I think is a perfectly viable option. We have swords and heavy blade, which are, let's face it, they're big bloody swords, so let's just have scythe and heavy scythe, for example, and they can have their own stance. That way we get, well, the few people, probably just me, that actually like Scythes and get along with them and can work them to a high level, well, we still get our Scythes. Maybe a slight damage buff, that would always be appreciated. I kind of feel that a lot of the Scythes are within a very small tying with each other. There's very little to actually separate any of them, so maybe mixing up some of these numbers, making some a bit more crit orientated, others a bit more status orientated, would be a fair way to go. At the moment they're very balanced between hybrid builds, having between 15 and 20% critical chance and status chance, with a 1.5 to 2.2 critical multiplier, and that is basically really it. The only one that really stands out from that is Caused Assist being easily able to get to 100% status chance with its measly 5% crit. So maybe just mixing them up a little bit will allow for a lot more build variety, and just maybe, I don't know, adding in an actual heavy scythe on its own would be a bloody good idea as well. I must admit, when I saw the footage of the Overgrown Hate as the two-handed scythe, it did look really good. The problem now is, though, if you do this, I now need to reformer, reset the weapon to having a build that is designed to have a heavy blade stance on it, as well as swap out the polarities for the bloody stance, unless you do things like that for me, which I can't really see you doing anyway. Maybe you'll give me an affinity booster and like a former or two, but I have all of my Scythes, every single one of them is set to how I like it. I've got to do that for all of them just because a few people are bad at using Scythes, because that's all it comes down to. Sorry, if I can take a Caused Assist, and that's all I actually have on this, I don't have a primary or secondary, so I can't swap out a Caused Assist on my Necros and do an hour in Mocked, then bloody anyone can. It's really simple. So the general argument being is they don't like the stance, will give us a new stance. The weapons are bad. No, they're not. You're just bad at the weapon. Argument over, really. That should all it should be. Like I said, I'm being a bit of a dick about this, but I really do like my Scythes, and I've gone above and beyond, I personally think, anyway, to get my Scythes to standard, or where I can sit in survivals for hours on end, but I'm not going to sit in a survival hour and just do a video where I can rant. So, you're going to get an hour in Mock just to prove a point, which will be far beyond what any sortie will do, and certainly beyond what any of the average players in Warframe will actually go to. Let's face it, who are the crazy people that spend hours and hours in Mock? Who are they? Exactly, pretty much, well, there are a few, but they're few and far between. So the overall gist for me is people are too lazy to actually work up a viable build to do these sorts of things with Scythes. They don't have the patience to work out the mechanics of the stance, and DE are going to be relatively lazy and just go, you know what, we'll just whack a heavy blade stance on there. I'm sorry, I don't want a heavy blade stance. I like my Stalking Fan. I like that it auto procs slash and impact, adding in the 3 elements that I already have on Caused Assist, giving me a 5 stack on condition overload to give me near enough 360% increase in damage on a permanent basis, adding in the Riven that I got because it's a 3-point Riven system, which will outdo any heavy blade, because let's face it, the heavy blades have really shit Riven dispositions. The Scythes have bloody good ones because they're not popular. The end result of this is, I would argue, with Caused Assist especially, the most powerful melee weapon in the game. It doesn't care for shields, it doesn't care for armour, and it just strips your health and everything else in between like it's a little bitch. It doesn't care. It will literally chew through everything. It's a massively powerful weapon. Reaper, and the rest of them, Reaper Prime, they're a little bit below, but due to, yet again, their Riven dispositions and the fact that they're undesirable weapons, you can pick Rivens up easily and cheap for these weapons, so I don't understand the problem. Honestly, I really don't. Anyway, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you all pretty darn soon. I do apologise for the massive rant. I know I do this a lot, but people annoy me. Thank you very much. Catch you later. Bye.